Remember when I told you about the Chicago gun buyback where a Glock somehow disappeared from police custody and ended up in the hands of a 16-year-old? Yeah, that gun just shot somebody. Let's rewind for a second. At best, gun buyback programs are a dog and pony show. At worst, they're a complete scam. And today, I have another example to prove it. You ever heard the phrase, "you can't make the shit up"? Well, let me introduce you to a story where a gun turned in at a Chicago police gun buyback program somehow found its way back onto the streets, into the hands of a teenager.
Again, in your opinion, you think it was lost in, the gun was lost at the station?
Yes.
Okay. And when you found it, or when you discovered the error, who did you tell?
I told everyone in the office. I asked, "Where's the Glock?"
That's right. A Glock that was supposed to be taken off the streets through a gun buyback program was lost inside of a police station. And just like magic, poof! A year later, it shows up in the hands of a 16-year-old kid. Not in evidence, not destroyed, but back in rotation on the streets. Well, now we know the rest of the story. That same Glock, the one they said was supposed to be off the streets, was used to shoot a woman in Chicago.
Woman says she was shot in Chicago by a stolen gun, and now she wants the city to take ownership.
Lawyers for Tawanda Willingham say she was shot last August in Auburn Gresham. The weapon used in the shooting had been turned in at a police gun buyback at St. Sabina Church months before. But between the church and the police station, which are literally a few blocks apart, the .45 caliber Glock 21 went missing. It was not found until November of 2024, and ballistics linked it to Willingham's shooting and at least 2 others. It turned up in the hands of a 16-year-old boy.
The Chicago Sun-Times reports CPD officers are also not immune to the allure of Glock pistols. The lawsuit says CPD officers assigned to work the turn-in event at St. Sabina remarked on how good the Glock 21 pistol looked. CPD officers who were not working the buyback event at St. Sabina showed up at the tactical team office to get a look at the Glock 21 pistol. I'm telling you, this is a clown show. Straight up clown show behavior. The same politicians and activists who swear up and down that we should trust them and only them to keep us safe are the ones running programs that literally put guns back in the hands of criminals. These buybacks are sold to the public as a way to get guns off the streets and save lives. But here's the reality. This one took a gun off the street, walked it through a police station, and somehow sent it right back out to threaten lives. That is not a safety program. That is a redistribution service for criminals. And here's the crazy part. This gun was probably submitted by a law-abiding citizen, not a criminal, which means if that gun had stayed with its original owner, it never would have made it into the hands of a 16-year-old. It never would have been used to shoot this woman. And yes, I know the gun didn't pull its own trigger, someone else did, but the fact remains, the buyback literally created the violence it claims it's trying to eliminate. If that gun had just stayed put, none of this would have happened. Gun control caused this. And you'll notice how quiet the anti-gun crowd gets when stuff like this happens. No press conferences, no fiery tweets, because this story makes them look exactly what they are. Moronic baboon hypocrites. The truth is, this isn't about public safety. It's never been. It's about control. And the cruel irony is, gun control laws like this don't take guns away from criminals. They take them away from people who follow laws because criminals aren't showing up to turn in their weapons for a gift card. But thanks to this fiasco, the people in charge actually gave a gun to a criminal. That is beyond incompetence. It's dangerous. When I first covered this story months ago, I said buyback programs were useless at best and dangerous at worst. I wish I had been wrong, but here we are, proof that this program can actually create the exact kind of violence they claim to prevent. So, the next time you hear a politician talk about common sense gun laws and getting guns off the streets, remember this story. Remember that in Chicago, a gun buyback didn't stop a shooting, it enabled one. And if you think this kind of incompetence and hypocrisy needs to be called out, next time you hear one of your friends talk about gun buybacks, send this video to them so they can look at this and see how dumb they sound. Matter of fact, don't wait for them to talk about it. Just send it to them. If Chicago's buyback program can't even keep track of the guns they take in, why would I trust them to protect me? That is why I created the Defend America collection, available at shop.mrcolion.com. We have them in hats, hoodies, t-shirts, drinkware, all built around the AR-15 as a symbol of freedom, self-reliance, and not relying on the same people who misplace firearms like their car keys. So, If you want to look good while making it clear you handle your own safety, head to shop.mrcolionnoir.com and grab yours today. I'll put a link in the description section of this video. One thing's for certain and two things are for sure. Politicians and tech giants don't want gun content to be recommended to you. And we're all fighting this culture war together. Now you can help do your part by liking, commenting, subscribing to the channel, but most importantly, sharing this video with at least one person. Together we can stop the suppression of our 2A rights. And don't forget to click the link in the description section of this video for the products that I mentioned in this video.